World politics is very different post 9/11, and Britain is no exception.
All these new challenges are bringing together about the biggest restructuring we have ever seen, not just of the global economy, but of the global order as a whole. And 200 years ago, a famous British Foreign Secretary said that the new world had been called into existence to redress the balance of the old. In 1990, another old world ended, dominated by the Cold War, and people talked then, in 1990, of a new world order. What they actually meant then was a new political order. And what was not foreseen then, but is obvious now from everything that we see and do, what we experience in every day of our life, is the sheer scale and speed and scope of globalization. But what does the new world order mean for countries like ours who are looking to succeed? I suggest that the countries that are going to succeed are those that combine flexibility, free trade, open markets, with proper stewardship of the environment and investment in education, infrastructure and innovation. And the question for us is how we meet and master all these challenges to ensure that Britain enhances its competitiveness in the process and realises what I believe is our destiny of success in this new world order. So, in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, a new world is emerging. It is a new world order with significantly different and radically new challenges for the future.
If you ask a politician assigned to security matters today what he or she thinks about the surveillance techniques used to prevent crime, there's a good chance that you'd be told about the benefits of closed-circuit camera systems. You'd hear convincing arguments about the additional safety in their vicinity because they act as a crime deterrent. Or you might hear about the virtue of being able to track terrorists by filing information about airline passengers or by enforcing the use of biometric passports. Maybe you'd find out how trusted computing protects you from malicious software and viruses. Or how scanning emails and eavesdropping on phone calls helps the police find potential criminals of all kinds. It would probably all sound great, because the idea is that you should start thinking of these techniques as being the cream of the crop. But let's face the not quite so obvious, but nonetheless omnipresent downside of all this. While public cameras may actually help the police to find criminals, modern CCTV systems like the ones used in London are even today able to lock on to any person the operators wish to track using automatic facial identification, thus enabling the police to create a detailed database of, say, all of your movements. The keeping of records about airline passengers flying to the US and, in addition, the obligation for everyone to submit biometric passports are supposed to help fight terrorism. But this also allows the secret services to gather explicit information about the nationality of every traveller. Explicit information such as your fingerprints, the colour of your eyes, and a high-resolution picture of your face. Information you would usually expect to be taken from suspected criminals. Trusted computing promises to enhance security on your PC by only allowing certain trustworthy software to run on your machine. What you're not told is that the person who decides which software you can trust and are therefore allowed to install on your PC will certainly not be you. On the one hand, scanning emails and wiretapping phone calls for ominous keywords could convict a few small-time criminals. But on the other, it allows all sorts of people involved in this monitoring process to retrieve all sorts of private information. These symptoms can all be taken as evidence of the slow but steady conversion of our Western societies into police states. Our Western societies claim to be liberal democracies, but our leaders try to enforce more and more repressive laws and instrumentalize the public fear of terror to justify them.
any comparisons with George Orwell's 1984 is now a tired cliché, as Britain has fulfilled every requirement laid out in his nightmare scenario of government. Doublespeak is prevalent, as we are told to give up our freedoms and safety of unlawful imprisonment in order for our country to stay free and safe. The 42-day detention is an example of this. We have one of the largest numbers of CCTV cameras per person anywhere in the world. They are now even talking to us. Our mobile phones, our credit and debit cards, and our internet searches leave digital footprints which the government is trying to store. There are also attempts to create DNA registered databases, as well as the introduction of EU identity cards. This part of the Lisbon Treaty stops both the public and the government doing anything about it. The ID cards will have RFID chips in them. This stands for radio frequency identification. The signal these chips transmit allow a reader of the cards to track and follow your every move. The next thing you know, they would have built a large black pyramid in the centre of London.